Welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition live play podcast that meets every Tuesday night. Last time, a lot of things happened. The leader of the Platinum Sentinels for Sudarin, one Tresnor, spoke with deathly gravity as he told the assembled survivors of the battle how it was going to be. The Sentinels have defeated Tatsuya Lumas's retinue, and his last two remaining allies have been captured. The party, along with those allies, were brought back to Tresnor's residence to speak, as he wished to pass on useful information to the new champion of Bahamut. Information that he seems to believe was withheld by Shagrazir himself, though he said he understood, and that is how Shagrazir is. All odd statements. However, once reaching the residence, he first wanted to make sure that all of those who were considered defeated were on the same page with each other, and so when Tatsuya's remaining allies demanded his return, implied that this should be granted. As Tatsuya was released from his polymorph from Cyrus, he was then interrogated as to his reasons for wanting to take the Scale of Whittemere, and through a long conversation, it came out that he had been at least partially responsible for the rise of most of the dragons, and that he had hoped that he would be able to unify the world against a common enemy and defeat Tiamat in one fell swoop. Unity that he felt the world was sorely lacking. The party argued, made counterpoints, and by the end, he had accepted that he had lost this fight. He said he had dashed his ships against the rocks and had nothing more to give. Conceded to his younger brother, Raiken. However, he did latch on to a couple of the arguments that the party made, ideas that the party had shared, the idea that preparations might be made and unity built to fight the enemy in the future if the dragons were put back into their slumber. But he seemed to latch even more strongly onto the idea of completing the mission, summoning Tiamat, and defeating her evil forever. Just as this was coming about, he also mentioned that the armor of Bahamut could not be relied upon in such a fight, and was subsequently sent out, as he had overstepped himself. When pressed on information about this, Tresnor revealed that Shagrazir had once told him, in confidence, that the dragons were, if chromatic dragons could work together, they could destroy the gifts of Bahamut. So this, being a new and terrifying development in the plan to defeat Tiamat, was affecting the group as they discussed how they might move forward, when suddenly flames appeared above the shoulders of Raiken, and a cloak of autumn leaves billowed out behind him momentarily before he announced stoically, "I will return, brethren," and vanished in a flash. And so we return to the room in the moment after Raiken has disappeared before your very eyes. All of the gathered associates of Tresnor as well as the Dragonborn of Arcosia, look on in stunned silence as the ethereal, glowing autumn leaves drift through the air and burst into motes of light, which dissipate as they touch the ground. Before Tatsuya, standing beside the war map, places a clawed hand upon it, and you can hear it groan as he leans his weight onto it. He says, "What just happened?"
Your reaction tells me that he couldn't always do that.
I was going to... We haven't done
No
that
idea.
before? Is this new? I mean, you've
Uh,
known him longer than I have.
I mean, I've never seen him
This
do
is
that,
new.
and I've been with him the longest.
Lorelei? Do you have any idea?
You call out to Lorelei, and she appears in the air next to you, with a sorrowful look on her face, and says, "I'm sorry, Leah. I have to go for a while, but I'll be back.
What do you do?
I'll be back. Won't be long." And
Why does
she
everyone not care
fades
about
away.
me?
I'm taking up
on?
my pendant. I'm calling to Syl.
Okay. I'll get to that in 1 second. I do want to just quickly mention, as she became visible and then faded, you also saw the flames and leaves on her, just like on Raiken. So, Jebel, you pull out the emerald with the root growing around it.
Yep.
And you call upon Syl.
Yep.
Okay. You speak into it in Druidic, and in the chaos of this moment, it seems to remain dark for a tense and protracted amount of time. And just as you think she's not going to answer, it suddenly pulses to life and begins to glow with a rhythmic blink like a heartbeat, before you hear her voice emanate from it in Druidic. And she says, "Jebel, we haven't spoken in some time."
No, we haven't. It's been an age. How are things?
Things are, well, as ever, the world is, not well, but at least around you, they're mostly improved.
Yeah. Something weird just happened.
Oh?
Do you know? Have you spoken to the other members of my party? Do you know them?
I mean, we've talked in the past, through
Right.
the stone.
Okay, so Raiken, it was Raiken who disappeared, right?
The Dragonborn.
It was
I'm
fun.
asking. Yeah, double checking. Yeah, he just vanished in a cloud of like fire and leaves. It was it would be quite an impressive display if it wasn't so confusing.
That is strange. Hey, Jebel, would you mind turning for a moment? Like, around, in a circle?
Okay, I do so.
After you complete the circuit, she says, "Ah, I see. You're in a very dangerous place. You should probably leave."
Yeah, I think we were planning on doing that.
Yeah, this village is controlled by undead.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of, yeah, we figured that one out.
That's the undead over there!
Yeah, he is, yeah.
You should leave!
Should we before or after we find out what happened to Raiken? Because that's that's a kind of
I'm sorry. I'm just very distracted by that one. Normally I might tell you to use the perpendicularity, but it's out of service.
we've heard that too, yeah.
Anyway, your friend seems to... He's definitely gone.
Yeah.
He's not on this plane. And he's not with me. Give me a moment. The gem pulses in a more staccato beat for a moment. And she says, yeah? Yeah, okay. I'm definitely... I think whatever happened has to do with the Fae.
Which one of these is Leah?
I'm the blonde-haired one in the...
She's like on the other side of that orc from you, and that orc is the
Yeah.
same one from the battle that was one-on-oneing with Raiken.
you could always just hold tab Tristan so he can see it and...
Oh, right, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. That's all my fault. That orc, Ungar, next to you is like... He's got his arms folded across his chest, and he's like staring down at you as you talk to this stone in a language he doesn't know. He
What
seems...
language is still responding in?
What?
What language is still responding in?
Also druidic.
Okay. No, it's just like I thought that sometimes I get confused between which one is Laramentis and which one is Leah.
Okay.
That's why I was just wondering,
Yeah.
because I wanted to know if I saw.
That's kind of racist.
Laramentis is the one, like, with the purple fire in his hand, and Leah's the one who's, like, got her arm out.
I can't fire at this.
Well, here, I'll do this. This helps. Laramentis is the one holding purple fire out, and, you're here. Oh, goodness. It'll lower on that. Fuck. It'll lower, there we go. And then Leah's the one, with the blonde hair who's holding... She's got long blonde hair and is holding her hand out and has this long staff behind her.
Okay.
Eventually, I think we will have more representative tokens from Hero Forge, but I'm still waiting for that day.
So, did I spot Lorelei disappearing as well in the same manner?
Yeah, because she was invisible and she became visible, so she was visible to everybody.
Okay,
Did
so
she
when
speak,
when-
like, to people, or did she speak when she said that, or was it telepathic to Leah for the things that she had said?
You know, that's a good question. Leah, how often are you guys usually speaking telepathically, or usually speaking in voice?
In combat, we tend to speak telepathically, but right now I spoke like out loud because this involves everyone.
Sure. So yeah, I believe that she would have said it out loud in common.
Well,
then when Sil mentioned how it seemed to be something with the Fae, I would say, well, that explains Leah's familiar. She did the same thing. Claims and leaves.
Then...
Something's going on.
Huh?
Something is going on.
Definitely. You should investigate that. Not here. I can look into it from my side. If it's an archfey or something, I might be able to find out who.
that might be a thing. I'm going to just say to the group, just are we waiting for Raiken to get back, or are we leaving?
I would like to know a timeline for him to be sent back, presumably by Zentharamil, and if he would be sent back here or to wherever we are. I imagine if he's plucked away from us here, he could be shoved back anywhere, but we should find that out.
Excuse me, you think Thermal is behind this?
Given what happened with your familiar, that seems likely, unless does he have nothing to do with Autumn?
Why, but why wouldn't he let me know?
That seems an excellent question. We can't say for certain that it was Zentharamil, but
Highly likely.
he seems a reasonable first suspect to what was going on.
Tatsuya, like, you can hear his nails digging into the wood of the side of the table as he growls at the party and says, "What do you mean you're just gonna wait for my brother to reappear?"
The individual we are talking about is friendly towards us, is not someone that we are concerned about Raiken's safety.
He just kidnapped my little brother! What do you mean, friendly?
We should confirm that it is Zentharamil. I
True.
will. Which divination thing do I have? Is it commune?
Yes.
Working this out. Try summoning my raven and see what happens.
The raven is just banished at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you wave a hand and the... Was it banished or was it still flying around? I don't remember.
Either are.
I just remember that you had sent it out to learn some
I
stuff
think it
about
was
the
flying
battle.
around.
But you
So
told
in
him to
two
stay
actions,
in
it's
this
here.
area. So actually, I think you can just reach out telepathically. I think he's still flying around this area.
Okay.
Because you told him to keep an eye on this house.
So, how's things?
Well, you returned to the building you told me to watch, with the creature that I never saw leave the building, so I didn't know what you wanted me to do about it.
That's fine. You can take a rest if you want.
I'm enjoying the sun at least, but how's things? Quiet, I suppose. It looks like the battle's ended.
Yeah, that was something.
I don't know what that means, but is there something you want me to do?
No, we just had a minor issue here, possibly with an archfey. So we're just checking to see how things were you.
I mean, I'm fine. It sounds like you're having a time of it.
Yeah, this is new to me.
I don't think it would do well for one such as me to just fly in the window, but is that what you want?
No, you do you for the time being.
Okay.
I'll let you know if anything changes.
Very well.
And with that, I'll turn and go like, man, nothing going on with my familiar.
Good to know.
Why are you all just
Leah,
standing around?
We can't exactly go after him.
If it is, I mean, if it does look like it could be related to some thermal when both that I care about is disappeared, but why wouldn't he take me too? Why wouldn't he let me know? Makes no sense.
Well, let's
The
just-
minds of Archfey are interesting. But if I am allowed, I can cast the spell Commune, and we can confirm whether or not he was taken by Zentharamel.
I want to understand what's going on! Why was he able to take my brother?
If it is an Archfey, they are extremely powerful. I would have thought that something like this would require being closer to a perpendicularity, but my areas of study have not been in that particular field of planar knowledge.
Points at Leah and says, well, I agree with her. Why wasn't... No offense, Ace, but why Raiken instead of you, if you're the one connected to the Fae and not him?
No, as much as I do.
His jaw actually hangs open at that.
Leah is not looking at his direction, by the way, when saying that. She hasn't looked in towards him since he entered the room again.
Do we have two other questions related to this that can be answered with a commune? And I turn to Tresnor. Do I have permission to go and cast this spell?
You have permission to go and cast this spell outside of my village.
Is there someone who can guide me to a safe place to do so?
Indeed there is.
Thank you.
Would you like me to accompany you, Laramendis?
I don't know.
We're
if I was
all accompanying him. That's
Just-
kind of the point.
one.
Didn't know if we were all doing it. I wasn't going to assume.
I want you all to go, and I will give you a guide. But I first want you to understand the harm you have caused here. He turns his gaze upon Ongar, who drops to his knees in a sign of respect. And he says, I'm sorry. My failure is inexcusable. He says, Ongar, because of your failure, the scale was removed from its place of safekeeping, and I cannot recreate its vault in my current state. Says, I know. I accept my punishment. I offer my soul so that you can recreate the vault. And you see the cloak shake its head. Says, no. You have family. There are many here who would be willing to make this sacrifice. But your punishment is to find the person who is right for it. And you all are to witness it. Because I know that you do not want that to happen. And the only way to make sure it doesn't happen again is to keep the confidence of this place. You understand?
Yes.
You do not, but you will. Shortly. Ongar rises and says, Sir, I cannot condemn someone else for my own failure. Yes. You should have thought of that before failing. I do not take those unwilling. But I do not relent in punishments, and I will not let you slip silently away from this. You will ensure it does not happen again. The first time in 1,000 years that the pillar has fallen. Ongar hangs his head and heads out, closing the door behind him. Resnor turns to the rest of you and says, "Now then, this magic business. You have an archfey that you..." He looks up and down, Leah. "Derive power from..."
Yes.
"And he has taken your ally, the Dragonborn."
We don't know that. But it looks like it. Not in a threatening manner if it is him.
Can you think of no reason this might have happened?
Other than everything that has aspired today, no. But it could be related to everything going on.
This Archfey exists in the Feywild, correct?
Yes.
What could be happening here that would trigger these events there? How do you think it's related? Pardon me, my thoughts are jumbling in my age.
Well, as he cares a lot about me, so it could be related to what's happening in this world and not his.
He took your ally. Your ally was a danger to you.
No, Raiken is my adoptive father.
Muscle tough.
If he took him, maybe he wants to talk to him, tell him something.
He looks around the room. This long talk.
Doesn't time work differently in the Feywild?
You see the hood dip in a very odd way, like, it all kind of, like, settles a little bit as it tilts to one side. You're not sure what gesture he just tried to make.
Okay.
Unfortunately, if you need to get to the Feywild, you'll have to travel some distance. We made sure that our perpendicularity was taken care of after Zintharamil disappeared.
Actually, that's something I was curious about. Is it gone, or is it just, like, locked?
The perpendicularities function because the areas on either side resemble one another. They are doorways between adjoining places in the realms. If you make them no longer akin, they do not function. It takes a great deal of alteration to stop a perpendicularity from working, and it takes an even greater deal of effort to create one. Cooperation on both sides. The ones here were naturally created when the world was formed by the gods. I do not know of anyone successfully creating any other perpendicularities, but I am aware of attempts that have been made. The times before Chagrazir. So then, if your friend does not reappear, what will you do?
I don't know.
We will need to find out where he is and find out our way to him.
I mean, Lorelei disappeared as well. Should at the very least be able to resummon her, but I don't want to disrupt whatever she's doing.
There's also the fact that whatever we do, we don't necessarily have to do it here, too.
Why do you detain us like this? I want to save my brother. Just let us leave. Persnor turns himself toward Tatsuya and holds a long silence between them before saying, "You've already gotten a lot of people killed today. I'm going to give you a reason to take pause before risking any more lives." Turns back to the party. Says, "I don't know if you understand what it is that I am, but I cannot recreate the vault by current state, and without the vault, the scale is vulnerable.
You need us to stay guard.
Why don't you roll to find out if you know the difference between like liches and demi-liches?
Arcana.
We talked about that.
It's true. You did have a long conversation about the difference between liches and demi-liches.
And what
So
makes a lich become a demi-lich.
So I know what's being asked.
You have a very good idea, yes. I mean, if you as Thomas have guessed what is being asked, I think that you as Jebel have also guessed what's being asked.
Okay.
I take my role here very seriously, as does every member of the Platinum Sentinels. We pledge our lives to upholding Chagrazir's desire to protect the living of this world and see that tyranny does not take root. But unlike other followers of Bahamut, we do not travel the lands and enforce his rule. We simply help avert the coming of the storm. I say all this in hopes that you understand that I do not do what you are about to witness lightly. Every person in this village is my family. Blood does not have meaning here.
Okay. Sounds ominous.
It is.
We came out to stop it. That's the good uncle over there that came here to actually cause harm.
Yeah, I don't think our plan was to take the scale.
You were told what you needed to do, and you defied those orders. You involved yourself in a fight that I did not want you involved in. But more importantly, your presence caused us to miss the split-off force, he says, tilting himself toward Tatsuya, that this one sent around back. That
You
wouldn't
guys
have
were
happened.
gonna do that?
Yes, we did plan for it. But when we didn't detect it happening, I committed more forces to the front line. Or I should say, Ungar did. That is why this is his failing. But I'm telling you that if you had not been in the village, we would have known their plan. And it wouldn't have come as close to success as it did. And he turns fully toward Tatsuya before saying violently, and I don't want you taking pride in that. Now then, it is time. As he says this, the door opens, and Ungar returns with a young... Oh, with this guy. This'll work. The man who was guarding your door earlier. Aim for...
Oh, in the discussion last week, did the guy who attacked him come up?
Did the guy who what?
Attacked. Was he a furball?
Yes.
He was attacked by.
Yes, that did come up.
Yeah.
As a reminder, you asked about Gevarus, and Reznor told you that Gevarus was a young man who had been a member of the village until some months ago, when they had come to an ideological impasse, and Gevarus had chosen to leave the village. He told you that he had kept an eye on some of Gevarus' movements after leaving the village, but when he saw that the boy was not doing anything to threaten the safety of the scale, he let it go. He said that the last time he had seen Gevarus, Gevarus was nothing special with magic. The door opens, the orc and the Furbolg appear and gesture for you to move give them space to move aside. And Krasnor looks up and says, "Ah, Brill. A worthy choice." And together they step forward. And Ongar again falls to his knees, supplicating, and says, "Please, Lord, reconsider this. The punishment, the failure was mine. The punishment is too great. Let me be the sacrifice." And again, Krasnor says, "I cannot allow that. It would harm too many others. Brill, you have devoted yourself to us since you arrived, and I commend you on all that you have done to protect the world that Shagwazir left us." The Furbolg bows his head. "Oh, thank you, Lord. I do truly believe in the cause that you've given us. I am sorry that I, too, have failed to keep these where you wanted them," he says, kind of casting his eyes to the side, and only barely letting them pass over members of the group. "'Cause the failure is forgivable. It was unavoidable. I am told that you were overpowered by an unforeseen visitor. But I am giving you the opportunity to stand in place of Ongar and help to restore the balance of things here." And the Furbolg kind of straightens up and looks around, eyes wide, and you see his eyes stop and fall upon the glowing purple sphere at the side of the room. He says, "I did not expect such an honor, sir. Not with... I've only been here a few years." Krasnor pauses for a long moment, a long time, actually, before speaking again, and saying, I do bestow this honor, but I want you to know that I am also sorry that you must be called upon this way. Your service now is greater than any other has given in a great long time, but does prevent you from attending us on our journey forward. And that is my failing. I want everyone here, he says, and the hood is passing slowly over the group, and you start to see that pale purple light glowing within it again. To understand that I don't take unwilling souls, and I only take them when it is necessary, as it is now. Ongar, your punishment shall commence. You will not look away. I don't want any of you to look away. And you see everybody nearby to Tresnor, especially among his aides, backs up a few paces and takes up a restful position that shows respect. Ongar turns to Vril and lays a hand on the man's shoulder, saying, I am sorry, Vril. It was an honor to serve with you. Vril says, no, don't be like that. I am sorry that we failed, but this, being able to preserve the world for the future, that's the goal. That's why I'm here. I take pride in this. And Tresnor rises into the air, and you see the green hands from earlier seem to reform and pull back the hood of the cloak and lift a leather strap from over the top of the skull, and the armor and cloak fall, clattering. Where'd he go?
I'm kind of wondering myself. I'm like, he's gone. Did he, like...
I raised him above the cut line. The armor and cloak clatter to the ground beneath him, and he is but a skull, yellowed with age, with golden tusks clearly having been replaced after, at some point, either in his life or in his afterlife, very much resembling that of an orc. The glowing green magic is forming the shoulders and arms of his body, but nothing more. Says, then...
Ilya, swallows a shriek as she says it. She sees him, cover her mouth with her arms.
For the good of the world, the scion of Arcosia left us for the protection of as many people as we can manage. I commit your soul permanently to this quest, Vril, and I thank you for your service. And you see Vril salute silently as the ethereal body of Tresnor raises its hand, and a green light pours forth like water in a waterfall, and as it strikes the desk, the table below him, it pools into a circle and emits a concentrated beam that strikes Vril in the chest. And you see him recoil and clutch his hands over his chest where the beam is striking him, right over his heart. And you see him wincing in pain. He says one more time, "It's an honor!" Before you see an ethereal form pulled from his body that very closely resembles him. And the body falls away, caught by Ungar. This ethereal form hovers in its place a moment before being pulled into the pool of light on the desk by the beam, which then redirects onto the purple orb, and you see this mote of energy swirling around the beam, travel up its length, and then onto this purple orb. And for a bare moment, you can sort of see the smiling face of this Furbolg on the outside of the orb, before it fades and disappears leaving only the swirling magic. And Ungar says in a voice choked with tears, "I'm sorry that I could not do a better job leading, and that you must make this journey for us." As he shuts the eyes of Rill's body. A heavy silence follows that is shattered only moments later as the purple orb lifts away from the table and begins pulsing this green-black energy out. And as this energy, traveling in waves, washes over the room, you see how it ripples and parts around each of you and each of the other people within the room, and passes over the furniture within the room. But as the waves reach the floating skull of Tresnor, they don't seem to ripple or part at all. They seem to be absorbed by him.
As like about the time as Ogar said his thing, Leah her eyes is all teared up now, and she immediately gives Cyrus a hug and tries to hide herself in his cloak. Sorry, Cyrus, you're the closest.
Understood.
I mean, I'm not.
Like
Well,
crouches
problem
down
A
behind.
and B. One, I'm shorter than you. Well, problem A, I'm shorter than you. Problem B, Raiken has my cloak.
Oh well, she's still she still
Look, you won't
uses
try and
you as a
stop
cry
it,
pillow.
but just you're advised of the absence of cloak.
Well, that's fine. There's no cloak, but she will still use you as a cry pillow because you're the closest. So, just how it goes.
The waves of green-black energy seem to be absorbed by the floating skull. And slowly you see the purple orb begin to disintegrate, starting from the top, and fade layer by layer. And at the same rate that this purple orb begins to fade out, to disintegrate from top to its bottom, you see flesh beginning to take root in the skull and build a body for Tresnor. And as the orb vanishes completely, you see that left in its place is a floating, expertly cut amethyst about the size of a balled fist, far larger than you would ever use for jewelry. And it is set in this what appears to be bone and silver setting, which appears to attach to the largest facets around the top and form a stand, almost, so that it could rest on its point. And that gently drifts down and returns to the place that the orb occupied. And you see this emaciated, somewhat rotten-looking form of an orc, once strong with cords of muscle around his bones, hanging in the air, as he gasps, breathing seemingly for the first time in centuries. He drifts slowly to the ground and reaches down, pulling the cloak away from the armor and throwing it around his shoulders. He says in a raspy voice, "Everyone here, every sentinel, is devoted to the goal of protecting this world from the dragons. And they are, each of them, willing to give the last full measure, should it become necessary. I pride myself on having to only ask this particular sacrifice 3 times since I took up the station given me by Shagrazir. I have rebuilt that phylactery countless times over the centuries, as Vecna was dissatisfied my service to his needs. But he cannot take this unlife, and I will use it in the ways that please me. Do you, interlopers, understand what it is that we do here now?
Laraminus will solemnly nod.
I have work to attend to. Hopefully enough. Shed this malignant form soon. You will be escorted out. See to your friends and your mission, and try to make sure that no one else need join Vril. If you please. And with that, he moves around and past you, out the door. The elf at the side of the table, who has held his silence the entire time, who earlier had been smirking enigmatically, is now overcome with solemnity. His face a mask of blank, now and again cracking to reveal a well-controlled pain. Simply bows to you before following Kresnor out. The other orc in the room steps forward. Says in a surprisingly somber voice, "You may call me Rogier. I will lead you out to the west."
Thank you.
Alright, so for the rest of you, the orc Rogier does lead you to the west, out of the village, telling you where to step carefully, warning that the all areas around the village are protected by glyphs of warding. The Dragonborn, Tatsuya, and his entourage follow in your wake. Now and again, you can hear them speaking to one another in Draconic quietly, but they are taking pains not to be overheard. Yeah. So, put you over here. Will do. And sorry for any silence. One as I have to think about certain things. There's a lot of storylines playing out right now, and I'm trying to keep everything straight.
That's fair.
Alright, so those that are in the program can take control of yourselves and get yourselves onto squares. Wherever you would like. Jacob, are you back?
Yes.
Okay, hi Jacob.
Hello.
I lost you a little bit earlier.
Yeah, when Sam left to give his cat insulin, I went to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. I thought that might have been the case, but I wasn't sure. Alright, so, yeah, you're taken out to the west. And, these guys kind of stay tight-knit over here. Rogier, still seeming quite affected by what just happened. Sort of, says, I don't want to lose any more friends. Oh. I would appreciate it if you did not compromise the safety of my village.
Do my best to keep it secret.
We can count on that.
I know that you weren't directly or intentionally responsible for everything that happened today. Sorry. Yeah, please don't make our sacrifice be in vain. And if your friend was taken to the Feywild, I don't know if it helps you to know that the perpendicularity was to the south of here, nearby. It was dismantled. However, certain aspects of it regrew even each time we took them apart. It never functioned again, but you should be able to recognize it. Do you know what a fairy circle is?
Like mushrooms and stuff in a ring, right?
He nods. It is one of those.
The whole area in the But hold on, before I say this, Tristan,
Yeah.
I need to clarify that I'm not misremembering.
Okay.
Did Zentaramil show Leah how it looked like in the Feywild? Because I have a vague memory of that.
When Zentharamil gained the power of belief in the Dragonborn village and became your patron, you were transported to a place in the Feywild, but he never said exactly where it was. He only said, this is what the Feywild looks like.
Right, yeah, because I have a vague memory of, like, seeing how his perpendicularity looked like now and being, like, not good, but that could have been a memory I forged.
I don't have a recollection of that. I'll try and go back through my notes and see if you were ever shown that. But at the moment, I don't remember that. I just remember that you saw a part of the Feywild when he became your patron.
Yeah, right. So if that's the only thing she's seen, then yeah.
I mean, it was certainly an alien-seeming land where the sky and the leaves and the trees were all the wrong colors.
The wrong color? I think it's here that's the wrong colors. Yeah.
I mean, it's a matter of perspective. Welcome back. And that there was power, there was magic free-floating in the air in a way that it is not present in the material plane.
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, I remember that, but I know I had like a feeling that Leah had like a dream or something where she where she saw how it looked like.
It's possible. It's possible. It's even likely. I would say, just because he was interested in showing her those kinds of things. Would you say, because I don't have anything in my notes in front of me that talks about that, would you say that he was showing her the Fey side of it or the material side of it?
I seem to remember the Fey side of it, but I don't know for sure. But I seem to I imagine in my head a very scorched place that looked very wrong from what, yeah, like destroyed.
Okay.
But as I said, that memory could be something I forged, not something that you ever told me.
You know, while I think it is, because I don't remember ever discussing it with you, you're not far off the mark.
Okay.
Like, as far as, like, something that she might have imagined, that seems, like, reasonable. But I don't think you and I ever discussed it as, like, a definite character interaction.
Well, then I'm just gonna not say anything yet.
I mean, it could have been, you know, if you will, a dream that Leah had based on, you know, the things that she had heard during her travels with Sin.
Yeah, like what I imagine in my head is also what Leah like imagines.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it can be hard to really know, especially in the relationship that you have.
Yeah.
What are her imaginings and what is actually something that he's shown her?
That's actually very fair.
So,
real quick, I'm gonna ask. It was just to reiterate, just to double check. That area is outside of Tresnor's concern, and there are no glyphs near or around it, or how far is the nearest.
he points directly south. You see, like, the trees encroaching again as there's more land down that way, above the surface of the swamp. And says, if you pass between those trees there, you should be able to avoid any glyphs. Many of the glyphs in that area were spent early on, and we did not recreate them once the perpendicularity was gone.
And past the tree line, it's completely safe and open.
Between there and the river, the water on the other side, you'll find that the fairy ring has its own small, I want to call it an island, but it's just a bit of dirt that rises above the surface of the marsh.
Okay, thank you for the information.
It is my belief that you will be safe. I cannot think of any glyphs between here and there. Were you to approach from the village, that would not be the case. Make sure that you approach from here if you go there.
So, out of character, so I'll make sure I memorize that route if we don't head there right immediately.
I don't know if it will, but I hope the information helps you, our friend. Oh, if you'll excuse me. Go 10. You are left alone at the edge of Fresnor's territory. The 3 Dragonborn are, huddled up and eyeing you suspiciously, but they appear to be waiting for someone to speak.
I believe next thing on the list is to find out what happened to Raiken. Perhaps only finding a dry spot should come first.
Do we wait a second, out of character, should we wait a second for Sam to get back and then continue?
I'm back.
Oh, you are back, okay.
I would prefer to be on a drier patch to cast the spell, yes.
Should we head toward those old perpendicular? Will that affect any magic that will be cast if we go there and just do it there?
It shouldn't.
Oh, what do you guys say just to head there then?
Sounds like a decent enough spot, if any. Well, as any.
Are we heading off? Or are we?
I think so. While we're walking there, I am going to say, what are the questions we wish to ask? A reasonable first one is, was Raiken transported by Zintharamil or agents of his?
Yes. The next one I would ask is about Zephyr. If he's the one that did the pulling.
Yeah, careful saying his name. Don't. There could be heirs anywhere.
Well,
From what I was-
how many questions again?
3.
There are 3. We can, assuming the answer to Zintharamil is no, we can word the question such that we don't need to speak any names for the second one to determine.
Perhaps just say
your
Leah's
previous
original patron. Previous, yeah. The reason it's my guess is just based on the imagery, and both have a connection to Leah. One of fire, one of leaves and nature.
And,
If either one comes back as yes, I would also then want to ask if he's on the Feywild. Well, not on, but in.
well, couldn't we also just ask his, say his location in format of region and
No.
plane of existence?
No. It has to be a yes or no.
Oh, it has to be a certain,
On rare occasions, there's uncertain or additional information from my understanding, but most often yes or no.
Sorry, I forgot that part. Okay. And yeah, I see with asking the way you chose.
Probably find out where he'll be returned. Will he be returned to our current location, or where he was taken from?
Well, we can pretty much ask just one of those. Do we want to ask if he'll
Yes, but
go
we
back
have
to where...
get a... Yeah.
So should we start with... Well, I guess we should start with the person, then the place, and then with any remaining questions, see if we can narrow down where... Well, actually, how about a win? Because I feel win's going to be much more important than where at the moment. Like if he'll return within, say, a day.
Wait,
Ask if he's safe.
wait, it can tell events that are to come?
Yes,
there's less certainty in that,
Uh,
but it can give glimpses at things that are to come. I need to move the cat so that I can type, so that I can write out the questions. My cat.
As you are discussing this and moving southward, you pass through groupings of trees and over, both deep and shallow water as you move from bit of mud to bit of mud in this marsh. And eventually you break through a tree line and come upon what looks to be an active campsite. Or at least a recently inhabited one. As you can see the remnants of a cooking fire, around which are spits with bits of meat still on them. I'm gonna say there's 3 tents here. As well as some, rudimentary, stools and makeshift things to sit upon. You don't hear anybody as you approach it. Nobody calls out to you. The Dragonborn walking ahead of you seem to, rubberneck at it, watching it as they begin passing by, but they don't pay it too much attention other than that.
How far from the village are we?
Enough space that would be a no man's land of mines, and there's, not that I've put every single tree in here, but there would be a good amount of trees and underbrush, making this place reasonably invisible to the village.
I'll just say to whoever is guiding us, you're not curious about this?
As I thought we lost our guide once we started heading this direction.
I think the person guiding you is Raiken. Or Raiken, Yukikaze.
Okay.
He's leading from the back.
Well, it's kind of hard to tell because there's 3 of him now.
I know.
I wasn't guiding anything.
We'll fix that soon. But the 2 that look like Yukikaze up front are actually Tatsuya and Amuro.
Given this is to the west of the minefield, I'd be willing to bet Gevarus, or whatever his name was, that we encountered earlier, this would likely be his camp. I doubt anyone else would be able to be out here without some pointed questions. Well, I do prefer secrecy. Who knows? But it might be worth seeing if anything was left behind.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
like whoever's camp it was, they were here recently.
Yeah, and there are 3 tents.
Yeah, so if it was Gevarus, then he had people with him that we didn't know about.
I'm going to investigate this camp.
Okay.
As investigating will take time, should we all pause here and just search while Laramundus casts?
It will take me 11 minutes to cast my spell.
Very good. Then those who wish to search the camp, please roll some investigation. And those who are not searching the camp, other than Laramundus, since I suspect you're going to be casting here, this is good enough?
Yes, this is good enough.
Okay. He's
Well,
casting.
I'm gonna keep an eye on our extras.
I help on searching the camp. I got 14.
That's much better than mine 9.
Okay.
I got 15. Oh, but my passive investigation is 16.
My passive investigation is 10.
Alright. So you said 15 or 16 over there, Vendar?
Yeah,
And you
16.
Okay, and you got a 14, Leah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, between the 3 of you searching, you find, first of all, that there is a strong smell of cooked fish about the bits of meat left on the campfire remains. Investigating that, you feel like there was a fire here probably no more than an hour ago, as the stones are still warm. Investigating the tents themselves, you do find that there are bedrolls, one within each, and there are a couple pouches left behind in one of them that seems to contain rocks that all have like a quartz-like quality to them. Like, none of them appear to be like gemstones that would have monetary value in higher society, but they're all very pretty rocks. Like, some appear to be igneous, formed volcanically and having, colors and a glass-like quality to them. A couple appear to be sedimentary, formed in layers, and each of these striations is multicolored. But what you note about this small pouch of small rocks is that they're all visually pleasing in some way. You do find a sheathed knife. It seems to be of good quality. It hasn't been left to rust. Its blade looks like it was recently honed, though you can see a couple nicks in its edge. And you find that it has Elven script on it.
What does it say?
It says, for Gevarus, it will be useful in hunting to protect yourself.
Well, it's definitely Gevarus' camp. Suggested he wasn't alone.
I'm going to look for tracks.
Okay, survival.
That's a 6 plus 9 is 15.
Okay. The ground here is soft and muddy, and there are many tracks everywhere. Some clearly older than others, but very difficult to tell what are the most recent. And you don't have much time to really do that, since you spent the 10 minutes before this investigating the camp with the others. And Laramundus, as you start looking at these tracks and trying to parse them out and follow them, finishes his spell.
I'm finishing up typing what the questions are in the order that they will be asked in, so give me just another minute.
The Dragonborn that are not Tatsuya seem to be standing defensively around him, alternately, watching the surroundings and turning to see what he is doing, to see if he is giving any orders. Tatsuya himself seems to be focusing all of his attention on Laramendas as he casts the spell, and you can see that he is, he's got his arms folded over the breastplate of his armor, and in one hand beneath his elbow, you can see that he is fiddling with something.
Yukikaze is going to be standing next
Tell
to...
what he's fiddling with.
Yukikaze is also being standing pretty near to Laramendas.
Okay. Cyrus, you cannot tell what he's fiddling with without being in a place where you're invading his space. So, are you going to?
I feel like if we're gonna be able to get through this without instant, perhaps I should start with some trust that they might get built. So I think I'll leave it be for now, but I'll still keep an eye on him.
Okay. Yeah, he just seems to be, you see his fingers moving, and his elbow sometimes rises, but you can't tell what's between his fingers. Now and then you see, how to describe it? Like a satin blue ribbon, kind of, swings out, and, just dances, next to his hip, before being, pulled back up.
Is that, I don't remember out of character. Oh, is that basically what Raiken had shown in the previous session?
I mean, if you could tell that, I would have told you that.
Well, I just couldn't remember even what its color was.
But that is what you see, and you may make any assumption that you wish, but your character does not know with certainty from the DM what he is holding. Are you ready, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, my first question is, was Raiken transported by Zentharamil, one of his agents, or by his designs?
You cast your spell. What does the spell look like when you cast it, exactly? What's the physical manifestation of this spell? What components do you use?
So, it says incense and a vial of holy or unholy water, technically. But they're not listed with a price, which means I have it in my component pouch.
Okay.
So that's how component pouches work.
Indeed.
So I imagine as he is going about preparing things, he is pulling out fragrant herbs and things to, be the, essentially be the incense. And as he's asking them, he's rubbing his fingers together and they're lighting and the smoke is going up.
And the vial of holy water? Might he decant it onto a surface to speak to?
I think that makes sense.
Do you
Not
pull
really
out
much
like
of
a
a surface
saucer
here,
of some
but,
kind?
Yeah.
Pull out a saucer from your, tea set. Because you're posh, you obviously have tea.
I don't think Laramentis has tea on his person. Laramentis pulls out his pipe and empties it out
Oh, God.
and pours it into the pipe.
And then blows bubbles through it. No, I'm kidding. Alright, you pour it into the pipe. And then you begin speaking, and after a moment, the surface of the holy water in the end of your pipe ripples,
We
and
make do with what we can when we're in the swamp.
from the smoking end of the pipe, you hear a voice that seems like it might be being attenuated by your medium, speak in, Celestial.
You speak that, right?
No, I don't, but the spell also doesn't say that that's the case, I think.
You've used the spell before.
I feel like I remember Raiken had to
Raiken had to translate last time.
Okay. I look up at Ash and say, could you translate that, please? Because Ash has translated before.
Yes. And Ash, seems to focus his eye on the pipe in your hand. And then in what seems to be almost a... like if you took the voice that came out of it and then just direct translated it over, you hear a kind of echoey, no! Or wait. Yes! Sorry.
I was like, okay.
I'm like, no
Those
is
are
a much
very different responses.
echoier thing. I forgot the question by the end of all that description. I apologize. I remembered it. Was he transported by Xantharbil or his designs? Yes!
Xantharbil, one of his agents, or his designs.
Yeah.
So I was kind of casting a broad net there.
Uh-huh.
Broad, but specific enough.
So the second question will be, is Raiken currently in the Feywild?
There is seemingly a moment of contemplation in the pipe before you feel it vibrate slightly in your hand, and Ash again translates, yes!
Okay. So then the final question, is Raiken in immediate danger for his life?
There is a much longer pause this time, where it says, yes!
Interesting. I thank the pipe.
The pipe is silent.
As it should be. It would be horrifying if it responded. I thank the pipe and it's like, yes! I'm like, oh.
Turns out you just enchanted the pipe.
You retrieve your holy water from the pipe. It's now flavored holy water.
Delicious.
Just gives it that little kick, you know?
Yeah, that little pipe weed kick. You've you've gotten this much closer to inventing LaCroix.
Ugh.
Okay.
Disgusting.
Somebody shouting, where's my pipe in the other room?
And the water's
you
like,
have-
pipe.
Didn't you have some other way of at least asking something questions?
If we wish to take more time and have a slightly different type of response, then I could cast Contact Other Plane. It does run the risk that I will be incapacitated for
A day.
About a day.
Yeah.
And that's probably not worth the risk.
If we're going to, it is a small chance. If we are going to do that, then I would want to cast Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion first, so that I can be brought into it and we can sleep. Should I lose my mind?
Where'd you get all these spell slots? I thought you were out.
No, he was one of the only ones to have some left. Besides the last thing he cast was.
Well, actually, I guess that's a fair question. Upon leveling up, what is the how do spell slots work for leveling up?
If you level up and your new level gives you a spell slot that you didn't have before, you get access to that spell slot.
Okay, cool. So then I could do this.
Yes.
So,
I think I to answer Vendo's question. I think my exhaustion has given me a bit of a second wind, a little.
The only caveat to this, one where I have to kind of case by case it and see how my gut feels, is if it gives you a spell slot of a level you did not previously have spell slots for, so you would not technically have any prepared spells to use in that slot unless you were upcasting.
Right. So that is what I would be intending to do with this.
Yeah. My current gut feeling would be, yeah, you can totally upcast with a slot, but you wouldn't have any spells prepared of that level because you didn't have access
Seems
to
reasonable.
that.
imagine that might be different for sorcerers who don't prepare spells. They just have them.
Then you just have a spell of that level.
Not particularly relevant at the moment, but, it doesn't hurt to ask them on the topic.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be different, since you don't have to prepare. You would
I
just...
got my spells off 2 weeks ago. I haven't been able to prepare any level spells yet.
Sorry. Gotta sleep. And...
So, sorry, you had something more DME that you
Well,
needed to say?
I wanted to do two things. First, and most important, was to address Jebel and say, so you had begun to search, to try and track these tracks on the ground when the spell went off and he was able to start talking to it. So, would Jebel have paused his tracking to listen to these answers, and whether yes or no, would he be continuing to track after those answers were given?
I paused, and then once I'd heard everything, just a quick run around. Just to see if I could find anything new in the tracks.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is like an investigation check. You are spending actual time to do this. Like, you guys tossed the campsite. That took 10 minutes. This survival check to try and parse out these tracks is going to be like 10 minutes of going over the tracks and like following one path, following another path, trying to like examining the plants and the mud itself, trying to figure out which ones are older, that kind of thing. But it's going to be a time consuming thing, just so you know that you'll be doing this.
Yeah.
And you will be moving about.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, Cyrus, what were you going to say?
I'll say, well, I'd like to know which perpendicularity is closer, east or west. If possible, because I could get us within relative spitting distance. And we can move from there.
Is it?
I
Why
think
does it
it's...
matter which one is closest? Given the magics that you will be performing.
No, not which one's closest to us. Which one's closest to him. Because I only cover like half the journey. Getting us to the rift, then we step through, and then it's a lot of walking. If we try and do it now.
I mean,
Which
we
I
are
imagine-
in no state at the moment to do much of anything.
Then... Well... And do we wish to finish checking up here and then, I don't know, go back to Bromdor?
Did you not hear the squeaky voice? It said my brother is in danger now!
How could he be in danger if he's with Centarmel? I don't get it.
I mean, the question might have been poorly worded. Honestly, any interaction with an Archfey is a dangerous one.
Yes, but for all you know, he was immediately put into a combat situation.
He's a champion at court. He can handle himself.
Yeah, I'm gonna be with Bender on that one. If he's in a combat situation, he's having a good time.
I like that answer.
Regardless, we don't know where he is.
We don't know
After
where
we
he
get to
is,
the
we don't
appropriate
know
plan.
if he's fighting, we don't know what he's fighting. If he's in immediate danger to his life, then he could be fighting an army.
Which is why I would prefer to try and go there as soon as possible. But without knowing where he is, it would be rather futile.
Anibal is very big. We don't want to end up being lost there.
Do you not know where your friend lives?
Not particularly. I mean, I can vision it in my head, but I've never been to the Feywild besides that one spot.
Could you describe to me what you know?
Orley? I mean, for all I know, what I saw is just describes everywhere in the Feywild. I, like Elise, cannot describe the scenery now. It's been too long.
It was, would you like your character to describe it right now, Elise?
Yeah.
Then she describes what sounds like a dense jungle with thick undergrowth, tall trees with wide trunks, the all of the plant life, the portions of which would, in this world, be a vibrant green, there appears to be a cold blue. The sky that showed through gaps in the canopy of this area was either a brilliant mauve or a burnt orange, and all around the two of them, as they were surrounded by these very vivacious plants, how do I want to describe these things? Ferns and things of that nature, things with pointed leaves and reaching branches, kind of thing. There were motes of energy drifting through the air, kind of looking like when dust in the air passes through a shaft of light, only these glowed alternately with all the colors of the rainbow. And you could hear the calls of many different animals, which some sounded like easily birds or something from your world. Others could have been anything. Their guttural noises might not have been anything like what you would consider a normal animal. That's what you experienced while you were with him. And ultimately all of it was beautiful, just like breathtakingly beautiful, like obviously like nothing you've seen, because nothing like it exists on the material plane.
Yeah. I mean, I would explain that as well as I could.
Yeah.
With that information, could I attempt to make a conjecture on like a general area, or is it from my experiences descriptive enough of enough places that I've been that it is probably not actually helpful?
You're convinced that whatever place that she saw that she's describing to you would be somewhere between the city-states? as it sounds too much like wild growth. And the city-states tend to be like controlled areas, like walled cities. And while there are, park-like areas in them, they tend not to be... There would have been more artifice than what she described.
Yeah. This seems like wild, Feywild.
Yeah. True Feywild.
Possibly important question. Laramendus, when was the last time you were at your college?
I haven't been at the university for around 100 years or so.
I figured.
Closer to 80.
Far too long. I was hoping
Why?
perhaps well, if you happen to have something relevant to there, from my understanding, it's in the grand scheme of things relatively near the
Got this.
western opening.
We did it.
But without something like that, the best I can do, at least with relative safety, would be the capital of Bromdor, Volnar.
I know the circle for the university.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
I could cast an 8th level sending to inform them of our arrival so that we do not die on sight.
Is teleportation... I don't think teleportation circles even rituals. I don't think you'd be able to cast sending.
But if you can teleport us, because I can show you the circle.
Well, that would get us closer.
With my first 8th level spell, I could cast Ascending.
Man,
I can't imagine a more Laramendus like.
yeah, if that's not peak Laramendus, I don't know what is.
Absolutely, that is absolutely correct.
Well,
At this time, while you're having this discussion, Jebel is, hands and knees on the ground following these tracks, picking at mud, dirt, and grass blades and things like that. And you do see him, wandering around the campsite and around you. Is that him? No, that's Vendar. That's him! And he wanders off in this direction, not really paying attention fully to what's going on, very engrossed in his searching of the ground. And as you're discussing this possibility of sending and teleportation, you all suddenly hear a familiar voice as a foot comes down in front of you as you're examining the ground, Jebel. And Gevarus says, "I'd be careful over that way, mate. There's traps around this area. That's how we get our food." Alright. That'll do. Whoopsie. Don't want to be in build. Said I don't want to be in build. Why am I stuck in build mode? There we go. Well, it tells me I'm in build mode, but that's not actually true. Okay, good. Anyway, whatever. Gevarus steps in front of you, blocking your path, and warns you about a trap for hunting. What do you do, Jebel?
He's just gonna stand, look at him for a second, go, thank you.
He seems to smile down at you politely.
And then, look over my shoulder and go, do we have any questions for this one?
I'm glad to see you're all alive. I was very concerned you were going to run off to that battlefield and die. People don't exactly cross Tresnor and live. kind of directs his voice at the group as he says that last.
We're not easy to kill.
Oh,
Is that why you left?
I left because I didn't believe that killing every person that accidentally found their way into the village was the right way to be protecting everyone from dragons. I also believe that if you really want to be following the laws of Bahamut, you should be, protecting people instead of killing them. It all just seemed a little jumbled, and, one can forgive an old man for getting mixed up, but maybe he shouldn't still be in power.
we've seen what it's capable of.
Well, I did try to warn you. I wish you'd come with me before, but you're here now. And that makes me happy. And he definitely is throwing, smiles your way, Leah.
She can't blush and hide.
Well, I see you found my camp. My friends aren't here at the moment, or I'd introduce you. I see you've made a couple of your own. Perhaps you should introduce me.
This is Tatsuya, my wayward uncle, and his friends. They were the ones we were trying to find during the combat.
Did you call him wayward, uncle?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. He kind of grunts, says, wayward! I know exactly where I'm going. I'm going to find my brother! As well. More people survived that battle than I expected. Where's this brother? Where'd you misplace him? Tatsuya growls and said, some asshole fairy took him! Now he's in fairyland!
Careful who you call asshole.
It's your father. How are you not more upset about this?
Because I trust Sintaramel and his decisions, even when I'm not included in it. He likely has a good reason to.
Interesting how that works. In any event, I need to get to Fairy World so that we can get my brother back. These are my seconds. Amuro Shoya, and I'm pretty sure I wrote her name down, but I haven't used it yet. Now my notebook isn't listening to me. Notebook, I need you to scroll. Sorry, just need to think for a moment. Sorry. It just takes me a moment to come up with a name. Amuro Shoya and Rina Amatsu. And who is this?
This is Gevarus. He helped us escape the prison that we had been placed in before the battle.
I see.
You should be thankful to him. If it wasn't for him, you'd be dead.
Tatsuya actually turns to you at that, Leah, and you can see that there is a darkness in his eyes. He says, and if he hadn't, perhaps my squad would still be alive.
I did my best to try to heal some of the fallen. Some of them might still be alive out there.
He looks away to one side, before saying, of course I thank you for that, but I'm concerned how many of them were doomed by removing me from my position of leadership before the battle was over.
Fresno would have destroyed you all. You saw what it could do.
Actually, I don't think he did. Well, except for the last part.
That's what I was referring to. What else? What else did he do?
Well, shouted and knocked 3 people out, or possibly killed them. I'm not entirely sure exactly what happened there.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. In case you forgot, Derek, Leah was like way behind when he showed up. She saw nothing of it.
I remember what you mentioned it.
In any event, on that note, and he turns to Amuro and Rina. I'm afraid that I don't think that we'll be able to complete the original mission. That wasn't already obvious. But, given that, I want to thank you for your service. I'm going to order you back to Arcosia for the time being, because I need to retrieve my brother, and that is not a matter of national importance. That is a personal mission, and I cannot take you on it.
Arcosia's rather inhabited at the moment. They might be safer taking refuge in Bromdor.
Oh,
or someplace closer.
You're
Something
more...
left of Arcosia.
You know, Tatsuya, you're more like your brother than you imagine. You were mad at him for following you here. Meanwhile, you're now consistent on following him where he's standing up.
Raiken was taken by magic before my very eyes.
Well, he was certain that you were taken against your will too. He could not believe that you were doing these things on your own will.
What is it you're trying to convince me of right now?
Well, maybe it's not the best to follow after him. He did say to return. He seemed very confident before disappearing, so maybe this is what he wants.
All I know is that he points to Laramandus, talked to a divine spirit, and it told us that my brother is in immediate mortal danger. I'm not going to rest until I've got my brother in my arms again.
Wait, Laramandus, was the question mortal danger?
Yes, it was. Is he in immediate danger for his life? So.
Okay. Just want to double check.
Now, maybe you're right, and the question is broad enough that any battle is a battle for one's life, even one he could handle easily. And he's handling it. But I still need to be there for him. I tried to do it without him. Now it's time to get on the same page.
Leah? Are you capable of scrying?
I can't scry to a different dimension.
Okay, well... At least if we did get to Feywild today, we can assess his current condition.
Actually, I'm gonna have to double check, but I'm pretty sure I checked that before.
Yeah, scrying only works in the same plane of existence. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
if we, as he was saying, if we got to the Feywild, you'd be able to scry there.
Yeah.
You would know that.
Then we first need to find a way there, but... You know, what if he actually makes it back and we leave?
Well, if you make it there fast enough, that wouldn't be a problem, would it?
Sure, but... Why do you have a say in this?
Well, you said you wanted to get to the Feywild, right? And you said you needed a place that was close.
You know of one?
Well, there's the southern perpendicularity.
You have a way of opening it?
I think I might. But I'll need your help.
We should... How can you prove to that we can trust you?
If I get this perpendicularity open and you save your father, that'd do it, wouldn't it?
But it would also open up many other dangers. There's no guardian on that side.
Look, that's the only thing I had to contribute. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Just thought I could help.
I still don't know where he got the powers. According to Tresnor, he didn't have any.
Well, shows what he knows about me. Anyway, I could introduce you to my friends. They help me study.
Father.
Magic isn't
Yeah,
easily picked up, that's for sure.
You said that you need our help. Can you explain to me what type of assistance it is that is necessary for opening the southern perpendicularity?
We need to get something. We need to be able to recreate the conditions that modified the other side of this, so that we can make this side look the same.
And that something is...
A mischievous smile spreads across his face. Says, we're gonna need a sphere of annihilation.
As soon as he said we need something to make this side look like that side, Laramentis just like pales and he's just mouth agape. And then he says that, and it's just.
I figure you lot can help me get one.
I got a 23 on Arcana. Do I know what a Sphere of Annihilation is?
Yeah.
Exactly
Yeah, you've
what
heard
it
of
says
them. They're not common. In fact, they're incredibly rare, and they are storied. It never goes well.
Well, that's horrifying.
Well, given our current location, this sphere wouldn't happen to be in the possession of Tresnor, would it?
No. I'm not so stupid as to try and steal something out from him.
Okay.
But there are others closer to his village than he realizes, I think. If we head over, we might be able to scrounge up something. You lot seem to be good at talking your way out of bad spots. I figure maybe you're very convincing.
what's in this for you? Why would it help us?
Is it so hard to believe that I really just find you nice and want to help you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I can't do anything to help that. In any
Birds
event,
usually like that, and
all I can say...
I have enemies. Enemies with power, and I'm not sure if you're not on their side.
That is 21 inside.
Huh? Where'd I go? Is it in here? It is not. Not in... yes. Okay.
Remind me, was it Raiken that could do the Son of Truth?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Damn it.
I mean, out of character, I could do detect thoughts, but I don't really want to use my 8th level spell slot, and our only other option if we don't go with this guy.
I do have a truth serum, but he'd have to volunteer to take it.
Is that in character, out of character? You said that.
No, yeah, Leah hasn't suggested anything like that yet.
Well, then it was out of character.
Did you get that at Garland or something? I'm sure. Like, I'm legitimately curious as to where you picked that up because I don't recall.
Truth serum? I've had truth serum since before you were in the party. Literally, I got truth serum like before you even joined the game, like before as Rowan. I've had it for a very, very long time, and I've never used it.
Maybe it's expired.
Yeah, it might be outdated.
Have you been storing it properly?
Still?
It's in a while. It's only been a few months in game.
I feel like that's more reason for Laraminus to want the new guy to drink it, so he can see what happens when someone drinks a out of date.
Laramendus isn't the one who poisons people for science.
Right. That would be Nolia.
But Laraminus at least says the truth of things.
I assume that there's some typing going on between Jebel and Tristan.
I mean, that assumes Jebel received my message.
Okay.
Because if not, Laramendus is going to chime in with the thing.
In any event, I've made my offer. If you wish to go about that way, I'm more than happy to accept your help in it. If you don't, it sounds like you've got another plan that'll work, and I wish you luck. But wouldn't it be nice if this area had access to the Feywild again?
Leave this garden.
Have there been discussions with the Feywild about this recreation, or is this a thing that...
It's a little hard to talk to a bunch of people who are on the other side of a big thick wall you can't talk through.
I don't know much about the Feywild to see the positives or negatives of opening this suit.
I think that we should take the slightly longer way and deal with things that way. I'm not comfortable with having a hand in turning this area into its match with the Feywild.
Isn't the... Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the other side of this perpendicularity defaced somewhat heavily?
I believe that's why the Sphere of Annihilation is required.
She wants to do the same
Just wanted to
thing
make
with
sure
this
I'm on
side.
the same page.
Have we evacuated well enough?
Well, we're standing here. If my research I've done on the subject is accurate, then yeah, we wouldn't be in danger of being sucked in over here. But we need to put it over, on the right spot.
I meant, has the right spot been properly evacuated?
According to the writing that Dresnor does not keep nearly as secret as he must think he does, there's hide still has the Spear of Annihilation sitting upon it. So we simply need to open it up and leave it there.
Then wouldn't anything going through get, well, annihilated?
Possibly. However, I don't think that's entirely true, because it's not just a spot, right? How do I explain this? You've got the fairy circle, and that's the ring of mushrooms, and if you step on that spot, you're sure to go through. But it's the entire area that works as this gateway at the right time. And so, it would be the entire area around the Sphere of Annihilation, once the areas matched each other, that would become the gateway. So I think... He kind of waves his hands in front of him, emphasizing that he feels pretty sure, but it's still just, I think, that you'd be able to walk around this Sphere of Annihilation, as long as you were careful not to, take a tumble. You should be okay, and you should come out on the other side next to their sphere now.
Wait, so guys,
Yeah, I think I'm in favor of the longer way. I would prefer not to come out in possibly enemy territory next to something that I'm pretty sure could kill me very easily.
I mean, enemy territory. The area is nothing. Nothing is in that area.
It won't kill you. It will annihilate you.
Wasn't
you won't even know
Leah's
what
old
happened.
friend taking residence there?
Well, my question is for everyone is if there's a gate open for us to go through, that means these horrible archfiends could also come through to this side, right?
It would be Fae.
Archfey, sorry.
Why would there be archfiends in the Feywild?
Forgive me for the wrong identification for the beings of that side. I don't know the area very well. So yes, the Archfey. Thank you, Laramendus.
I suppose technically Archfey could try and pass if they wanted to. They don't tend to care about
Our
the
side.
material plane. There are other people in the Feywild who would. And, creatures can find their way on the other side, so you might find an interesting assortment of new animals in the area.
Well, I was just wondering for things of danger or that kind of thing.
And there is always a potential of danger with these areas, but that is a thing that is accepted in the other places that it happens.
Alright, I was just curious. Thank you.
So vote for the long way.
The Dragonborn who are serving under Tatsuya do have a somewhat, muttered argument amongst themselves, but eventually it seems that Tatsuya convinces them that they should not accompany him further. And you see them move slightly away from the group and begin casting a spell.
Could I try and identify what the spell is?
Sure. Roll Arcana.
Not a great
Do
roll.
the same.
I got an 11.
Okay.
I got 35.
What? Is that a
Roll
natural
on that
20 or
20?
only like a 5?
That sounds like it was a 16.
It was a 17.
Oh.
Oh my god. What do you have?
I have plus 18.
Yeah.
Fuck,
No.
man.
I have expertise, and Ash gives a bonus. Because all y'all need to sleep, and we can be having interesting conversations while you sleep.
Yeah, it's that Ash bonus. My highest is plus 15.
How did you get expertise?
When we did the
Training.
training time in Volinar, one of the things that Laramenda spent a lot of his time doing was spending time with Nalia, working with her on the magic stuff that she was doing.
Oh yeah, 'cause I got expertise in nature, but only brought it up to a plus 10 because that's an intelligence based.
So, I sent you a message then.
Oh, yes. That would be useful to check this, wouldn't it? Yeah. That's what I expected.
So, no, Cyrus, you, roll one more die for me, Cyrus.
One more d20, I assume.
Yeah, giving you advantage.
Well, it turned the base number upside down, so that is a 14.
14. Okay.
Went from a 6 to a 9.
You recognize some of the what they're doing, what they're saying. You feel like you know this spell, but it's just like they've got an accent, and you're not quite sure which one it is.
Are they speaking Draconic or Common?
Draconic. Is anybody going to take any action prior to them finishing the spell?
I don't. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
Cyrus,
Trust
Yukikaze.
that they're just leaving. And besides, I'd have to counterspell or dispel with my only spell slot, which takes us back to problem A. And I feel like this is not as big a problem as problem A.
Yukikaze?
He can't counterspell anymore.
Oh, did he use both of them? I thought he'd only used one.
No,
He's not in the armor.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah.
You're right. He doesn't
we're-
have
we're
the
down-
Spellbreaker
we're
on.
down some counterspelling.
Never mind. I
Counterspell
apologize.
Squad has lost a member.
Alright then. Nobody does anything, and they disappear.
Well, that solves one problem. When we find Raiken, I don't have to stick someone into something smaller. So that's nice.
Tatsuya turns towards you and says, "Yeah, you're not doing that to me again."
Yeah, not that. Well, kind of that, but not that.
He places a hand over his shoulder on the haft of his hammer. He says, "You try it again, and I'm gonna put you in something smaller."
It wasn't gonna be you anyways. Probably gonna ask Jewel. He's smallest.
In
But
any
what point
event,
now?
it sounds like this guy's offering us a way to get my brother faster, and we're not doing it. And I don't like that. So, explain.
Because it opens this area up to untold effects, whether they're dangerous or not, to facing a large area with a sphere of annihilation.
Plus,
And
a lot
with
who knows
us,
what's into the.
and with us
Feywild.
still not knowing where on the Feywild he is, the entrance we use doesn't particularly matter.
But what if he's near this
what is-
one?
It is, but it sounds kind of
They
ominous.
closed this perpendicularity for a reason. If there's no guardian protected, then it's dangerous to have it open.
You guys better have a really good plan for getting my brother back.
Honestly, I'm still under the impression that he'll come back on his own eventually. He said he would, and I believe him.
Immediate mortal danger! What part of that doesn't make sense?
You've met your brother, right?
He's been in mortal danger multiple times with us.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's his comfort zone. If he's not in
I'm
mortal-
sorry.
if he's not in mortal
Is that
danger,
supposed to
he's
make me feel better?
Usually he is the mortal danger.
I wish I could disagree with that.
If you're so worried, you would have been with him since
as
the
long as he's
beginning.
not fighting a table.
Someone turned me into a snail!
No, I'm talking when they're before it's the whole adventure.
Personally, I would have gone with a cockroach.
Look, hiding amongst ourselves isn't particularly going to help solve this problem.
It was you, wasn't it?
What?
It was you, wasn't it?
Me that turned you into a snail?
Yeah.
Yes, I was the one who took the actions to it, although technically the spell was not mine.
He folds his arms and sits on the ground and says, I vote the plan that gets us in quicker, which is this one.
No, because we'd actually
Good
get in
thing you don't get
faster
a
with the other plan. This revolves getting something, coming back, and doing something with it.
I'm going to contact other plane, and I'm going to get a few more answers that will help us make a more informed decision.
Okay.
Are you gonna Magnificent Mansion before you do that?
I think I should send to arrange our potential arrival. And hope that I don't lose my mind.
Okay, I'm just noticing
no.
that we're over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't even noticed.
Alright. So, it seems to me like you're stuck with Tatsuya until you get Raiken back.
Yep.
Oh. Fun.
Alright. I'm sorry that wasn't established earlier, Alex. I was, trying to, get more engagement on it, especially as time went on, but, people did like dancing around it. So, just so that you guys are aware, Alex will be, taking over, Tatsuya moving forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
That way,
That's
Weird.
interesting.
that way he's still here.
And that way you don't have to kick him out for like a month.
I don't know exactly how quickly or what steps you're going to take coming up, so I wanted to make sure there was a backup in case you guys didn't immediately get Raiken back.
Okay. So there was a way to immediately get him back.
Maybe.
We'll never know.
The world may never know. Just so that it's not weird and I don't have to keep sidelining Alex going forward.
Yeah, could be interesting to see how he handles playing Tatsuya.
Yeah, we'll see.
Is it the next Tuesday or the one after where Sam
It's
couldn't?
October 5, so I think it's next Tuesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday, I am not available.
Yeah, I'm also not available, so that works out.
Well, that's...
Yeah.
I would rather have both of you unavailable the same day than one day and one the next day.
Yeah, so about that,
No.
Oh.
well, I haven't mentioned this previously. It's still up in the air if I'm going to be indisposed on the 12th, but it is possible. I should know by next week. And I will do what I can to make sure I am not indisposed to avoid having it be 2 weeks. Well, 3 weeks.
Yeah, please try to be available on the 12th, because we're already missing the 5th.
If I forget to tell you by the 5th, please poke me until I do, because I should know by that point.
Alright. I will do that. Alright, so, sorry we went over. Again, I lost track of that. I wasn't looking at the clock there, Thomas.
Are you asleep?
Did he leave?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I always try to end on time, but I did lose. Like, last time I needed to go over, this time it's my fault. I lost track.
Crazy shit happens when you roleplay.
Crazy shit happens when you roleplay. Alright, so, we are not meeting next week, because Sam and Alex are missing. Hopefully we're meeting the 12th, the week after. And all of you, like, stare at Derek until he makes it happen. Alright. I'm gonna call the session there. We're ending with, Larmendis is making a decision about how his spell slot needs to be spent.
It's gonna be ascending.
It's gonna be so great. Like, the most Laramidus thing to ever happen.
Just the fundamental forces of reality are mine to command. Here's a telegram.
Alright.
You know what's gonna be the best part? When the person over that you sent to happens to have gone to the Feywild and it just doesn't reach.
We are...
So I will put together the questions that I'm proposing for Contact Other Plane and put them in the chat.
Yep.
So that we can discuss in the chat there any tweaks to them, so that when we start, we'll be able to have that happen and
yeah,
make those informed decisions.
Yes, and you should also word up the sending so that it's ready for when you send it. And actually, I want to talk to you separately after I end the stream. Bye, stream!
Hey, stream.
Bye.